Welcome to the Worldbuilder's Anvil, episode 202. Today's topic, natural selection and why slugs...
Nay, 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 belay that order, you filthy bilge rat. Today we be parlaying pirates.
Yes, sir. Don't know where to start building your fantasy world?
Do you need more? Does it make sense?
Forget any worries and become a crafter of imagination.
This is the place where we will prime your mind.
Now, it's time to heat up the forge.
Break out the mithril ingots and hammer.
Welcome to the Worldbuilder's Anvil. I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I'm Michael Miller.
Let's sup from the mug of Java and build. Welcome back. As always, my name is Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I be Michael Miller.
Are you doing that the whole time?
I might try for it, sir.
Okay. This episode's been a long one coming here. Michael has done his best to, one, protect the audience.
Arr.
I don't know why he seems opposed to this natural selection and why slugs are the most powerful creature in the universe episode I want to do. So I guess we're going to do pirates?
Pirate episode be long overdue.
Okay. So let's take a few minutes to talk about why we love pirates.
And what's not to love?
I do have a fascination with pirates. I'm not the biggest pirate-loving person in the duo, but there are some just great characters about pirates, and there's something to, in American literature at least, where you have this connection between pirates and this ability to be free, at least at one level.
Oh, British literature as well, sir.
The government can hold you down. You can have all of these problems, but if you get out to sea, if you get in your ship and just keep sailing, you can be free.
There is a romanticized idea of the freedom of the sea and the rebellion of piracy.
Which is also is the opposite of the nautical fiction we're talking about too, where the sea captains have pretty much tyrannical control of the ships. Pirate ships are typically a bit more democratic, but you don't want to lose those elections.
No, sir.
Or ye walk the plank.
I'd be remiss if we didn't get into conversation about beloved pirate characters. Now, you all may have heard of Long John Silver, and we be not talking about the restaurant.
I was going to say, that's the first thing I thought of was the restaurant. I grew up in Indiana, and my grandmother loved going there, so whenever we went to visit, we'd almost always take a trip to Long John Silver.
Long John Silver be the beloved character from Treasure Island. And if you know your movie history, which I need a quick refresher on because I have it on another tab here, Robert Newton, the voice I be doing, the beloved pirate voice, is the British accent done by Robert Newton in Treasure Island. So beloved by audiences, he replicated it in multiple movies and a long-running television show about Mr. Captain Silver.
And this is one of the big sort of movie mill day actors too. He's been in 100 things, at least.
Yes, 100 even. Reflected by extensive internet research.
Extensive, that is for sure. I had to go, and probably my favorite pirate of all time is probably Mr. Smee. Smitty!
Now, when I was thinking about pirates and beloved characters, Queequeg came to mind, but I suppose he'd be more a sailor than a pirate.
Who?
Queequeg.
Who's Queequeg? The name's not ringing a bell for you.
Moby Dick.
Oh, the that's not the captain.
Nope.
Or is that his last name?
Nope. First mate.
Ah, he's the other guy. Yeah, I've been out of school for a couple of years, so.
Queequeg was badass.
Yeah, but he was a whaler, so yeah. That'd be more for the nautical episode, so.
I think we have to mention Han Solo.
Yes, and this gets to an important part of pirates. Pirates are not just people who go out and steal ships or ransack Caribbean towns.
But it is a beloved pastime.
Oh, yes. Even though it should never be looked down upon, a beloved smuggling is one of the classic trades of a pirate, along with buccaneering, which is strangely stealing the King of Spain's meat from Caribbean islands. Slightly different. But the idea there was the King of Spain dumped off a bunch of like pigs and cattle to roam around on these Caribbean islands. And when the Dutch and English showed up to try and start getting wealth in the New World, they wouldn't allow them to stay in Spanish colonies. And then they found like all of this livestock just self-grazing on these small islands. So they would kill them, turn them into jerky, go back to Spanish ports and sell them.
Free jerky.
That actually was the predicate, which ended up leading to the pirate generation of the Caribbean. So Captain Jack Sparrow started off making beef jerky.
I feel like interrupting with a history lesson, but I feel silly doing it in this voice.
Thank you.
But I'll go for it anyway. A good portion of piracy, as we come to know it in the movies, is not very historically accurate in that a lot of those pirates were actually freelancing for the British Navy against the Spanish. They were actually being paid by the crown to fight a different crown.
And actually, it wasn't just the British. They were just typically really good at it. There was this idea that you could get a piece of paper called a letter of marque. And a letter of marque essentially granted you the rights to attack Spanish shipping in the Caribbean. Typically was the most common use of it. Even though you could get one from the French king or from the Dutch or from the Spanish as well. But it would be like, essentially, like I said, a freelancer who would go out there and not the name of the crown, you would try and steal as much stuff, but you would then split a part of it back with your monarch. The nice thing was if you were if you had a letter of marque, the difference between you and a real pirate was you could sail into a British port and sell off those goods and not be considered a pirate. Now, if the Spanish caught you or someone else caught you, you would be treated the same as any other pirate, but you had some safe ports of call you could get into.
Now, what do you say of Captain Hook?
Oh, he was the other pirate from Peter Pan. He wasn't Mr. Smee, but he was another pirate. He's kind of cool. He had like a little hook hand. Actually, it wasn't really a hand. It was really just a hook instead of a hand because like a crocodile ate it off. And that was one of my favorite pirate movies that wasn't centrally themed to pirates, Peter Pan. The old classic Disney one was just a brilliant movie. And there's been lots of versions I've really enjoyed of Captain Hook and Mr. Smee in there, but it was a great use of pirates. I don't know if you call it hybrid fiction. I'm not sure what you would call that, but definitely a great way to get pirates into a different story. But, ultimately a great way, like I said, because of the romantic nature we have with pirates, Captain Hook is, he's especially in America, and I would assume in Britain, a quintessential pirate character today. More so than the real ones.
I'm going to take us off planet for a minute, and we'll get back to space pirates for a little bit. Yondu,
yes. This is one of my favorite modern pirates, I guess, in the sense of I was not a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy comic book, so I didn't.
Well, who was?
I don't know. But when the movie came out, I went to go see it, and of course, I loved the both of the movies, and Yondu being a central theme to both of those movies. So
certainly the second one.
He was really important in the second one, but I mean, he was important plot wise in the first one. But he was the guy with the little mohawk. The eye mohawk, I guess you would call it. It was sort of the electronic technology mohawk. Allowed him to control the arrow that would fling around and cut through people. It was really kind of cool. But real and a very pirate attitude with the way he looked at life.
Definitely. And in Jeff's notes and lists of beloved pirate characters in fiction, he neglected to mention the entire crew of the Serenity.
Yeah, because I don't think of them as pirates.
Pirates!
They're, just keeping a ship flying.
Pirates! Thieves and smugglers they be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially in the pilot. Most definitely in the pilot, they were kind of toned down afterwards, but still definitely the sort of along the lines of sort of your Han Solo style pirate. The crew of the Serenity. God rest their soul.
All of them.
Yes, because they all died in the movie. Oh, spoiler.
They be beyond our judgment now.
They all died in the Con Man trailer. Or Kickstarter video.
How about
the crew of the Raza? Another really important space one. And I'm going to tell you,
I don't know that I know the Raza.
The Raza was a ship from the television show, surprisingly good because it was on Sci-Fi, called Dark Matter. Now, of course, there's a problem whenever Sci-Fi gets good science fiction shows on, they have a tendency to cancel them, which is exactly what they did and really annoyed me. So if you want to see a really good like science fiction with a pirate crew, this is a good show for that. And these aren't good people, but a very interesting premise of the show. Great show, Dark Matter. If you want to get pissed off after a couple seasons, watch this because it'll get good and improve along the way, and then it gets canceled for no obvious reason, and at a point they should have not canceled.
And if you want to see bad space pirates, try to track down a copy of Ice Pirates.
Bad? Those are awesome pirates. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Ice Pirates be a sci-fi comedy movie from the early 80s.
Best movie ever.
Ice pirates in space.
Which is better than the other one, which I always associate the two together. Ice Pirates is awesome. Time Bandits I enjoyed, but I just didn't think it was as good. Sorry.
How do you say that with a straight face?
I don't. Both shows were unbelievable. Actually, Time Bandits was probably better.
Probably.
Most definitely.
Before we get back to real-world fictional pirates, I want to mention a fantastical world pirate, Captain Shakespeare from Stardust.
I've seen that. I know that. I don't know who the original creator of Stardust is because it would hurt me if I said the name.
Isn't it the same creator as Time Bandits? No?
I never heard of that either. Never heard of that.
What other fictional pirates do you like to mention?
The one, and I kind of want to skip over them because they made like 3 too many movies. Captain Jack Sparrow.
I think they're up to 6. 5.
Whatever it is.
5 definitely. Maybe
it was
6.
a good, I'll say the Pirates of the Caribbean was a good movie. That's all I'll say. Captain Jack Sparrow was good in the good movie Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't believe there are any movies after the first one, even though I'm calling it the first one. And it wasn't great, but it was enjoyable, and he did a good job at a sort of swashbuckling, kind of crazy pirate guy. It was a good Disney movie.
That character definitely be a copy of Long John Silver.
It'd definitely be a ripoff of Long John Silver, but in a good way. And now for my favorite fictional pirate, probably really, in my favorite pirate movie, which isn't really a pirate movie, I wouldn't call it a pirate movie, but the Dread Pirate Roberts, of course.
I might have to break character to quote that movie.
Say again?
I might need to break character to quote that movie.
It's fine with me if you take a moment out of character.
You should have said, as you wish.
As you wish, that's right.
My throat's starting to hurt.
Well, we won't say why.
Oh, you dirty dog. Yes, the Dread Pirate Roberts from The Princess Bride.
Yeah. And classic movie, must-see movie. If you are somewhat of a geek and you're probably within 10 years of me, plus or minus 10, you almost definitely know the Princess's Bride movie. If you've not, or if it's maybe disappeared in the younger generation, go see that movie. It was
pause the show and go watch it now.
Pause the show, go watch it, and come back and watch the rest of the show. Great show. It was sort of, the character was a throwback to Errol Flynn style swashbuckling, which is one of the movies that I was planning to get to shortly, which was Captain Blood. And just an amazing movie. Great sort of rapier style fencing sword fights that happen in them. And the Dread Pirate Roberts was a great encapsulation of that style of character, but in a fairy tale kind of setting.
Throws back to that old movie making style. All the old Errol Flynn pirate movies are worth watching.
Yes, most definitely. And Captain Blood being the premiere of them.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
Let's see. You also have Pirates and Moonfleet. I don't know Moonfleet.
So Pirates, first off, is a Walter Matthau movie, and I believe this was actually Long John Silver as well too. I could be wrong; it might have been Blackbeard. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie Pirates, but it was kind of like the birth of a pirate ship, where this guy gets hired on as the cook, and so he comes on to this. I think it was like a British flagged ship, and ends up turning the crew against the captain, taking the ship and turning them into pirates.
Mutiny
to piratedom. And it was like a very clever way for this guy to get back into the pirate game, because it's like, I believe he like lost his old ship, and this was his like plan to get a new ship. It was brilliantly done. This is probably my favorite pirate movie of all time. It doesn't have the swashbuckling action of the old stuff, which I really do enjoy too, or some of the space flair, but it was just the idea of the gutsy move that it would take to get yourself installed onto a military ship to try and get the crew to turn with you against the actual British naval officers. Because back in those days, all of them wouldn't have been like in the military. It would have only been the officers of the Marines. And most of the sailors would be hired at port. And so they were taking advantage of this and try to use it to steal this frigate or a sloop or whatever it was from the British Navy. Led to a great plot, great story. So this is a high suggested one for me to see, because it's not your typical pirate movie, but it's about your stereotype pirates, and so you have to always keep those in mind. And
Don't
you just
forget
sort of almost fell apart as if you knew something that you thought something you wanted to talk about.
I remembered my old idea. I'll get to it in a few minutes.
Oh, you get to okay.
Tell me about Moonfleet.
So Moonfleet is another interesting pirate movie. This is like a classic, like not swashbuckling age. It was more of I think it was in the 50s. And the idea of this one was it's more about the sort of British pirates, and essentially smuggling, and it's more of a thinking man's pirate movie, because it's really about I believe it was about finding a diamond, and it's sort of the legend of Blackbeard himself, the real life one, where they're trying to find this diamond, and it's a ruckus, intelligent pirate movie. Once again, it kind of breaks the mold of the Pirates of the Caribbean style stuff, and it's more like we're at sea. We have problems of being on the ship and isolated, and the benefits of being on the ship and isolated. So I haven't seen this one in too long. I don't want to go too much into it, but I want to see if I can find it somewhere, because that was a really good movie. I needed to see it again, or maybe find like the book. Maybe I guess I could do that.
The next one on the list be Cutthroat Island.
Yes, and I just bring this one up because this was another attempt to bring back the classic swashbuckling style of movie. And I forget when was this one out, Michael? You're my movie guy.
Mid-90s. Twas an enormous bomb. I liked the movie, though.
Yeah. It's like I wouldn't sell my children to go see the movie, but if you get the opportunity,
no one else did either.
No one else did either, except I did know one guy, but he was let down though. He was like, you know what? Maybe that wasn't worth it. Oh well. But it was a good movie. It was Gina Davis and that other guy who I can't remember.
Matthew Modine.
Matthew Modine. Thank you. See, that's why I bring you along, because you remember all of those names.
Bring you along, second mate. I be the captain of this here ship.
Yes. Until you lose your voice 15 minutes into the episode.
It's getting rough. The next movie be The Goonies.
The Goonies. Love this movie. This was one of my... I wasn't a real young kid when it came out, but this must have been, the early 80s?
Arr.
Sort of like a little post-E.T. time, I would imagine. And it wasn't so much about the pirates, even though they were pirate-like characters in a gang of people trying to stop them, but they were trying to get to pirate treasure. So you have this exciting thing of a group of kids delving down into the deep underworld, not really the seedy underworld, but just actually literally the underworld, into a cave. Sort of the idea of finding the, your Blackbeard-style pirates' treasure cache and getting to it.
The treasure of One-Eyed Willie.
One-Eyed Willie was the guy in the thing, but it was really it was a Long John Silver knockoff. Willie was.
R.
Is that an R yes or an R no?
R.
I get confused. But
for you,
sword down
for you anime fans, La Puta Castle in the Sky. It's another science fiction style pirate movie.
I'm not sure what you just said, but I think that's rude.
I realized as I was saying it could be interpreted wrong. That is the spelling, though.
That is the spelling. So what is the general flow of that?
I haven't seen it, but it was on a list supposed to be very good. So
it's on your list of ones to see now.
Yes.
Of course.
I'm sorry. R.
I didn't mean to throw you out of character there. I'm truly sorry for that.
I'll make you walk the plank later.
Stardust would be a pretty good one to watch if you're into that kind of fiction, because they do spend a bit of time on the pirate ship.
Stardust also has one of the best casts of any movie ever made.
Well, it's funny because I remember seeing because it was the cast that pulled me in.
Everyone's
to watch the movie.
It.
Everyone's in it, but no one's seen it.
All the people are in it.
It's it wasn't rated that well, but you watch it and you're like, I don't know why it's not rated well, like critically acclaimed wise, because it was acted well. It was a good story by some, I don't know, unknown author who I can't think of. And, but I have to go back from your little list. That's definitely one. There's another one, Castle in the Sky. I'm not familiar with, but I'm not really an anime person, so I can't really talk much. Even though there's one that I did see when I was sick one day, and I can't remember the name, so sorry about that. But there's another one that's really good. Yeah, and that was a spaceship one. Wow,
my computer's still loading. That's Stardust. I'm trying to get to the cast.
Well, that's good, because you also have the Pirates Code.
The Pirates Code I looked up.
You've done your extensive research on the Pirates Code?
Extensive.
And is that the thing that says that if you get the picture with the little circle, you're doomed?
No, that be the spot.
Or was that just made up for movies?
No, that was also, I think, from Treasure Island.
Okay.
The Pirates Code would be... Once a crew of men decide... Oh. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I stopped because you started talking. So I was trying not to be rude for one time.
Try harder. The Pirates Code would be a code of conduct on how to behave, how to divvy up a dead man's things, and how plunder would be distributed amongst the men, as well as punishments for offenses on the boat, but only after you be declared pirates. The men on the boat would agree on a code of conduct.
Yes.
So each
and this is actually a real life thing. It looks like too. I mean, it's like I see like Henry Morgan would have it, but it'd be the articles for which the crew would accept. So it was strangely
individual,
ship to ship. Like there's one here called no prey, no perch, or what is it? No prey, no pay. So if you don't pray, I guess you don't get paid. Yeah, or if maybe if no one scores, you get nothing. I don't know, but yeah, no, it's like several different. Like Henry Morgan's like a real famous old pirate. So lots of old pirates would have these articles, and there's actually a pirate ship called the Revenge, captained by John Phillips in the real world, as well as in the movie world with the Dread Pirate Roberts. But he was another guy who had his own. They were articles, and you essentially greeted them when you came on the ship, and that's the idea. And you kind of hear today. And I talked about this. We got into this a little bit unwittingly in the last episode we did for the Jewels of Div-Davar, where it's how do shares work. You know, the idea of typically there's the captain's share, and then there's officer share. So like a captain would get like, let's say 4 shares. Like your officers would get like 2 shares, and then everyone else would get their share of the loot. And so if you had 80 people, you know, it would be split up by the number of shares and then divvied out to the captain and then to the officers and then to all the people based off of these articles that went into it. Plus other things like, you know, you can't beat up people in your crew unless they want you to, or stuff like that.
I believe I only have one more fictional reference before we get into more fun, real pirates. Excellent book, fantastic movie, small amount of pirates in it, but important to mention, The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, gosh. Wow. You should be ashamed that I forgot to put that on the list.
That's why I be captain.
Aye.
Arr! Any others before we move to the real world?
Well, we've kind of touched the real world a little bit, but different types of pirates. You know, once again, it's the idea, you know, in hacker movies, there's often this affinity that really makes them modern day pirates, but instead of being on the sea, they're on the internet sea.
The Webernets.
The Webernet sea. Yes, they're in the Webernets, and that is their sea. And modern day hackers, according to many movies, the way they're portrayed is much like ancient pirates, leading to the things in real life, like the idea of the pirate, the pirate political party. That's not exactly the right name, but there's actually a political party called the Pirate Party, or close to that. Yes, and it also, especially in hacking, when it comes to stealing intellectual property from like movie theaters and stuff like that. So that's often associated with, especially movies, with actual pirates, but is not. And then, of course, there's the best hacker movie ever, at least to date that I know of, which I'm going to say is Tron.
I'd go with Sneakers.
Sneakers would be the obvious choice. Tron was better because he hacked a whole dude. I mean, really, he hacked a whole dude and threw him into the net. That's pretty impressive. So,
when's the last you saw Tron? That's not exactly what happened.
He did. He like hacked the dude into the computer. It was pretty much like that.
He got pulled into the computer by the computer. He didn't hack it.
But the guy hacked everything to take over. It was basically a hacker story, takes over a company, throws the founder into a prison of electrons. That's basically how it goes. Pretty close.
Arr.
At least it gave me an excuse to mention Tron in here, and I can get the cool light cycles and stuff. Very good. I've never seen the new versions of Tron, but I really do love the old one.
You're not missing much.
Oh, on the new ones, you mean?
Time for some real-world pirates. Did you know... Go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, you knew?
Yes, I do know, but you can say it.
Did you know that we live in a real world where samurai pirates were a thing? It's true.
Were a thing?
There were samurai pirates, for real. They were called the Woku.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were pirates in most cultures that had coastlines. I mean, to today, you have Somalian pirates that get a lot of airtime today.
Very scary.
There are, I believe, still pirates in the Caribbean. Just
I approve.
the number of pirate attacks in the Caribbean have gone down the sea. Pirate. I have to Google this now. Modern.
Oh, that's all right. I'll just mention while you're doing it that Blackbeard was a real man.
Yes, a lot of famous movie guys were actually either modeled after or were actually real. So outside of smugglers, yachts, I have a story of yachts being attacked in 2016 by pirates in the Caribbean. So I think it's a lot smaller, and typically you have smaller, almost like whaling style boats that get used, to take out larger ships in the traditional fashion of ship taking by pirates, with the Somalis using small ships to get up to the freighters to take them, small boats catching up to yachts out on the Caribbean to take yachts. Back in 2016 was the last one I see here. So the frequency of piracy has gone down in the Caribbean. But China, Japan, Indonesia, India, there were pirates in all of these areas. The Mediterranean, it was a constant scourge. The Romans hated pirates and would sometimes have to send in legions just to kill off whole neighborhoods because they didn't know who the pirates were, and they would get sick of the pirates. So they crossed cultures. They, like I said, if the culture has, and I bet you there has to be a movie like this where there were pirates on a desert ship that would go through the desert. I bet you there was a movie like that. But, any coastal culture where they have ships will probably have some form of pirates either directly attacking ship to ship or using the ships like, say, Vikings. They were the pirates of the North Sea. They would land, they would loot, they would, if they caught your ships, I'm sure they would attack your ships too. I can't prove that one though. But definitely they would use the sea to roll in, take goods, and get out when they were going to Viking.
Have ye any more on pirates? I've got one more fictional thing to mention.
I'll let you finish your fictional thing, and I think I'm all set.
If you want to play a pirate, Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
We'll make that the real world task of the day because I just realized I never updated that one. No, we'll make it. Yeah. Did you like that one?
I haven't played it.
Okay.
But everyone I talk to that has says it's the best one.
Yeah, I didn't really like it.
Except Jeffrey.
I got it, I think with the Xbox when I bought it. And to be honest, it's like the gameplay just didn't feel right. And maybe I was used to jumping building to building kind of stuff. It wasn't like that. That bugged me, but...
What be the world-building task of the day?
The world-building task of the day is to write a story about a pirate from space who's in the Old West trying to get a ship crew to go to sea for bonus points. It needs to be a pirate story, but if you can have the pirate be from space in the Old West getting a ship crew, that would be even better.
How do cowboys know how to man a ship?
Is this a joke, or are you actually asking me a question?
Arr.
I don't know what that means.
Michael will be back next week.
I'm sure everyone will be glad to hear that.
Belay that order.
or maybe not. Well, I guess we'll hear. And what's the other real world task? I had a shift to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, even though I didn't like it because I'm not a good judge of these things. If they're not like open world role playing games, I get bored very quickly. So what can I say? Even though I do have to say, Michael, actually, I listened to Michael for once. bought XCOM 2, so just start playing that one a little bit. Shows how behind I am on my video games.
And what do you think?
The combat, and I'm playing on easy mode because I never played it before. The combat is pretty, it's okay. I get where they're going with it, and it tactically makes some sense. The rest of the stuff around the game, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of guessing. Like, oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, let's go do this. I have no idea. An avatar thing, whatever that is, okay. Looks bad. There's a countdown bar. I'm probably going to die from that. So, like, outside of the combat part, it's fun leveling up the characters and that kind of stuff. And I do enjoy the turn-based combat system. It's functional in a good way. So, even though it was a little weird getting used to going up and down levels, that was a little weird to get used to. But once I got past that, I'm enjoying it.
I like XCOM 1 better.
You like the first one better? Okay. So that is it for this week, folks. I'm sorry. No more pirate voice. And if he talks again, I'll just cut him out. So he better not.
Don't forget to get the plunder.
All right.
Oh, wait. Shiver me timbers. I forgot that one.
Yes. And Michael will be on Twitter all day this episode releases, tweeting out pirate catchphrases.
That's not true. I'll just be typing the letter R.
Well, I am a fixed runner and I do lie. Thank you so much for listening to the Worldbuilder's Anvil.
We would love it if you would share the Worldbuilder's Anvil with 2 of your friends.
And so would they.
If they are unfamiliar with podcasts, then you get to introduce them to the wonderful world of podcasting.
Take them to Stitcher or iTunes, or best of all, just send them to our website, www.garduel.com.
That's GARDUL.com.
Now strike while the mithril's hot.